I never made it, but I know what it takes. I'm motivated by a mix of emotion. Got my statement, and I'm reading it slow so I can understand it fully. Appreciate my standing, go out of this world.
Hey guys, so in today's video we are going to be doing a fill. I went ahead and took off my polish, just went ahead and took back the old acrylic, and I gave myself a nice new base to go ahead and start so I can go ahead and color. If you guys want to see how I accomplish that, go ahead and stay tuned, and you shall see that process. Welcome again to Soleil Beauty. Thanks again guys for checking out my channel. Alright everybody, let's get started. So these are my current nails from the last time I did them. It's about a week and a half, two of grow out here. They're a little funky. I went ahead and decided that it was time to fill them. I had one that was starting to fall off and one that was starting to lift. It was, well, I had glued one of them, so we're going to go ahead and do that. So I have this ceramic carbide drill bit that I got. As an extra tip for this drill that I got on Amazon for like, I don't know, 18 bucks maybe. And I like this one because it's got chunky teeth on it. I put it on low and I start that way. I like to use it to get the glittery nail polish off and the gel polish because I do gel polish on top of my acrylic. And I just use it. I go back and forth kind of in short bursts all over the entirety of the nail. That way it doesn't get like too hot in one area. These files work very, very well and they get really hot sometimes, and I'm not a professional. I just started doing these on my own. It's like maybe, I don't know, I've only been doing them a couple times. And so yeah, you can see that it takes it off really well because the teeth on this bit are like really chunky. I really like to use it. Sometimes on my other hand, when I was like first starting, I just used like a different bit just to make it a little easier on myself so I wasn't cutting up my thumbs and stuff, my nails. But yeah, it gets it off nice and easy. So once I feel like it's off and good, I'm going to go ahead and do that to the rest of my nails. I take the tip of it and I just kind of go around the cuticle area. I'll go in with another bit and do that later to kind of clean up that edge. But yeah, I just kind of do that a little bit just to make it easier for myself later on in the process. And I decided that I was going to actually go ahead and change the shape of my nails. I've been kind of doing the rectangle shape, and I just decided I wanted something a little different. So I'm just taking this bit and I'm filing down the edges as well. I'm going to go for a little bit more of a coffin look. And you can see the drill is like sliding off of my nail. I don't really have that good of control yet. I'm going to probably get a different drill, one that has like a better speed control. This was pretty inexpensive. It works really well. I need a little bit better speed control. But yeah, once I'm satisfied, I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of my nails. You can see how the shape is different from them. I put them, one of them's wider, one of them's a little bit more slim. So I just did this hand, and I'm taking my kabuki brush that came with the drill, and I'm just dusting off my nails. That way you guys can get a good look. The one in the middle there, my middle finger, I glued it. I had to glue it, and it's like falling to pieces. So that's kind of why it looks funny, but that's why I wanted to do my nails. So that's what it looks like with the nail polish off. And with it on, and you can see how it's all spotty. And then this one here, the color is different. Like my nail bed is pink, and the lifted acrylic is like kind of white, and that's how you tell. And you need to get all that off. So I went ahead and I did both my hands. The middle finger on my one finger I think is going to be a little challenging. So I like to use this little ball-headed bit. It works really, really well to get in there and get the lifted acrylic off. I like to use it just on the acrylic, not on the natural nail, because it can be a little rough. But I just take it and go around the acrylic, and I'm trying to get anything lifted. I, kind of gets off a little bit of the cuticle too, but it's really just getting the edges of the acrylic that are trying to lift. And I dust as I go, so that way I can see what's going on. You can see how, like, I keep looking, and right there, you can see how it's white. It's a different color than my nail bed. That's what needs to go. I go back and forth in little small bits, again, in little small bursts. That way I'm not, like, getting too hot on my nail bed. You can burn yourself. I've done it several times, and I keep dusting. That way I can, like, really see what's going on there. As I was doing this nail, I kind of started to notice that it had some, like, fine lifting that was just, like, a little too close to the nail bed, and it wasn't quite working for what I wanted to. And this drill bit, it wasn't quite doing the job. Like, I kept going over the spot, and it just wasn't, it was like thinning it out, but it wasn't like taking it off, and it was starting to irritate me. And you can see here, this is where I was like, I don't know about that. I kept at it for just a little bit longer, and then eventually I said screw it, and I grabbed one of my other nail bits that I really, really like. Yeah, so this was the moment of truth. So this is the smaller version of the first bit that I use. It's got finer, chunky teeth on it. It works pretty good with shaping the nails and, like, buffing them out, as well as getting in the cuticle and lifting stuff up. I'll use this. This is a little bit more, like, I feel like when you're better at it, that way you don't cut your cuticles up so much. But I actually did a really good job. I kind of just, like, nicked my pinky on one of my hands a little bit. But this actually went in and really got off the flaked edge that I wanted to get off. It's important to do that. That way you don't get bacteria and weird stuff under there. But yeah, you can see that that white lifted stuff is gone. So my middle nail with the glue. I actually glued it, like, late last night when I was at work, and I kind of wish I hadn't. I wish I, like, stuck a Band-Aid or something on it, because it made it a little bit more difficult to kind of see the lifted part, but I could see the glue underneath, so it was still fine. But this lift turned out to be, like, significantly worse than I thought it was, and it definitely took a little bit longer for me to file it down and get through it. But I did, and it flaked off, and it was so much worse than I thought. Like, yeah, it was all the way down to the nail. I mean, that's my whole nail bed there, and then my natural nail is underneath that for the tip, and you can see just how, like, I had to take all of it off, and it just flaked right off, basically. The glue, it was a hot mess, but I got it off, and my nail feels a lot better. So now I'm going to do that to the rest of my nails, and I shaped all of them roughly. I feel pretty good with them. So now I'm going to go ahead and go in with my file with my 100 grain, I guess, and the 180 grain. One side is finer and one side is a little more coarse. I kind of go in with the coarser side, and I hold it at an angle against the nail because I do want to go in and make that coffin shape and continue that. And I'm just going in and I am shaping them and making myself happy with the way that that all looks. Now here I'm holding my thumb kind of like eye level looking at it. I do this with all my fingers, and it's just making sure that the flat part of the nail is nice and straight and flat. And this is what my nail looks like filed before the acrylic, just again finalizing that shape. This one I was really careful with because obviously it's busted. I just kind of lightly went in there. You can see I pursed my lips because I was like, ooh, super focused. And yeah, so I just go ahead and I do that to the rest of my nails. Again, I'm just creating that shape so I can go ahead and do the acrylic and I don't have too many problems. So now I'm just putting my nails side by side and I'm comparing the lengths, making sure that they are even. I'm satisfied with the way that they look, nothing too weird, and yeah, I can go on about my day knowing that my hands are satisfactory. When one of my nails is not, I'll bring them up again, look at them, and I just file them down just to make sure that they're relatively similar. Now this is an extra step I like to do once I'm satisfied with the shape of them. I just like to take my buffer lightly and go over each one of my nails. I don't really know why I like to do this. I like to tell myself that it helps the acrylic stick better, but I don't know if that's true or not. Now you can see here that one's a little more matte, one's a little more gloss, and that's basically what the buffer is doing. You're taking away the shine and creating that like sanded edge. That way the nail, or in my head the acrylic, has something to stick to. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and move on to the acrylic part and going ahead and doing the fill. So I got these cute little dishes at Fred Meyer's. I got 2 of them, but I only use 1 right now. My weird edit here, but there's the dish again. I use the Kiss brand. I really like this stuff. I don't know, it's cool. There's the Kiss acrylic powder, and then you have the monomer, the acrylic liquid, the smelly crap. And then this is the primer that you put on your nails. It's like a dehydrator. This is the brush that came in the kit. I really like it. Me struggling to get the stupid lid off because I haven't used it in a while. And then it was a little bit crispy just because I hadn't used it, but once I go ahead and put some of the monomer into the dish and swirl it around, it will go ahead and loosen up. So we're good to go. So now I'm just going to take the dehydrator and it comes with a little brush inside, and I'm just putting it on the part that I filed down on my middle nail on this hand because I had to do so much work on it. I'm putting a little bit more because there's a little bit more natural nail bed, but you're basically just putting it on the nail bed, getting that all covered up. This is going to make it so the acrylic adheres really nice and strong to your nail. Okay, so we're pouring some of the monomer into my little dish here. And we're going to go ahead and get the powder ready. And so I've basically just been watching videos on YouTube, and I've also been getting my nails done by professionals for like, I don't know, 10, 11 years now. And I'm just going off of what I know. So again, not a professional. So I just take my brush again. Like I said, it was crispy, so I just went ahead and I rubbed it into the monomer, and then I just dab it back and forth. I have a paper towel set down. That's what that is. In the center is my filed off nails, so that's why I like flipped that over so I had a little bit cleaner. And I have a couple layers down. That way it doesn't like mess up my vanity top. So I just put the brush into the monomer, and I don't want it to be super wet and you don't want it to be super dry, so I dab a little bit of it off, and you hold it into the powder, kind of drag it across, and you want to get a nice pill on there. And you're going to go ahead and place it just down from the top, and you're going to pat it into place. And you're going to see me wipe my brush a lot. This is really important. It keeps your brush clean, and it helps you just place the product. You're going to want to do it frequently and often. And yeah, you're just patting it into place, brushing it into place. I use a little bit more of the liquid when I kind of want to finalize moving stuff around, and I don't know, it just helps it smooth off. It does dry relatively quickly, but I feel like it's easy enough to work with. And again, you just go in with little amounts and you do the same thing over and over and over again. You get a nice pill, you put it on, and you pat it into place, and you brush in between your movements and stuff and keep your brush clean. You can see I'm like I'm like adding more to the tip of it there. And when I pat it into place, I kind of like, you can see I'm turning my thumb at angles. I'm trying to see it at all angles, because you don't want it to be thicker on one side and there to be lumps and like valleys or anything like that. And then I just pat the tip and then I brush it back. That way it doesn't like sit up or anything weird like that. And I dip it into the monomer, to keep it wet and pliable. And there you go. That's a pretty even nail. I like it a lot. I feel like it's got a good strength to it in the middle. I'm just going to add a little bit more to the tip of it. I felt like it wasn't quite as thick as it needed to be. So yeah, you can see I just put it on there and I dab it into place, and I wipe and I wipe and I wipe. You can see I scoop underneath the nail as well, because as you wipe it down, if there's too much product on the brush, it will just like flood down there. So I just wipe it out, and then I work on the tip again and brush it back and all of that, make it look nice and pretty, go over the monomer, and yeah, I feel like that's pretty nice and even. And so I just go ahead and I do that same thing with each and every one of my nails. So for this middle nail, I'm going to go ahead and get just a little bit extra liquid. I did dab it, and you can see here, this is the process. I dip it in, I drag it just a bit, and I get the pill. I got a nice big one because we're really recreating the whole nail here. And I dab it right on the connecting part of where it's like my natural bed and that and the acrylic, and then I glob it on and I tap it into place, and we're basically recreating the nail at this point. And I am in my room, but I do have a fan going right above me, and I have the window propped open, and the door is open, and the front door is open. I mean, like, literally my whole house is being aired out as I do this.
I'm not wearing a mask because A, I don't have one right now because I didn't think of that when I first got one, and B, because I mostly don't breathe while I do my nails. I am so focused that I realized I don't really breathe, so I don't really need a mask. So that's the progress so far on that middle nail. We've got a nice like base nail built onto it. Now I'm just taking more and adding it and fine tuning it and strengthening it in all of the places it needs to be strong in. And you can kind of see there that I was like using the tip of the brush and like dabbing it into like the acrylic part of my nail. I kind of find that that technique works for me as far as getting the acrylic into the cuticle. That makes it more like blend into the natural nail. I will file it later to help with that, but it helps at that, like at this point in time as well. And yeah, so we just completely built that nail, and I feel pretty good about it. It's pretty nice and even. There's a couple of spots that I noticed that I just needed to love just a little bit more. But I'm pretty happy with the way that this recovery nail did. I haven't really had one that was this bad before. So I feel like all in all, it came out pretty well, considering how bad it actually ended up to be. Yeah, so there's that, and it's pretty good. So I went ahead and I just finished this hand, and I'm going to go ahead and get started on the other hand, which is my non-dominant hand, so this usually takes me a little bit longer. This video is not as long as it should be. The whole process is about 2 hours for me. But yeah, there's the complete product when I got both nails done. And then just with the last bit of the monomer, I just clean off my brush and I wipe it off nice and well, make sure that there's no acrylic left in any of the bristles. And I dry it out nice and well, and then I struggle a few times, and I try to get all the hairs in without it like them snagging and pushing backwards because I don't want them to be all flipped up. So I tried with the paper towel a couple times. It was just making me mad. So I just used my fingers and kind of like brushed them lightly into place. Got it on, and then I just like lightly pinched the top with the bristles in it. That way it keeps the bristles flat. And then you want to store it with the brush facing down. That way no old monomer that's like fallen into like the wood part is going to seep down into your brush when you're using it, because that's gross. So yeah, now I'm taking my file again and I'm going in and I am finalizing the shape of the nail and just making sure that everything looks nice and crisp, getting any acrylic that may have slid under the nail off of there and fixing my tips. And I just do that to each nail until I'm happy. With the middle nail on this finger, it's nice and strong, so I'm able to go ahead and file it, as where before I was not able to, but now I can just go ahead and really get in there. So yeah, I did that to my nails. I was really happy with the shape. So I'm going in and I am buffing them again just before I go in with my drill. This just makes me feel better. I don't know. It just helps. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and go back in with my drill, and I am using, I forgot what this thing is called, and I should have looked it up, and that's my bad. But I like to use these bits with the little sanders on them to, completely shape and buff them before I usually put color on. I feel like this gives me the best shape, and it's the best for me to go around the nail on the cuticles and fine-tune the edges without killing my cuticles. This is the best and softest on the acrylic, I find, as well, because at a low speed it just shapes it like I'm filing it. It's not like taking off mass amounts of my acrylic. So yeah, I just went ahead and I did that to all my nails, and now they all look nice and crisp, and I'm pretty happy with that. And I'm going back in again with my nail file just to finalize that shape and make sure everything is perfect and how I want it to be. And to me, everything looks pretty good, I would say. So yeah, this is how I do a fill and a repair. I hope you guys liked it. Thanks for watching.
All right, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video on how I got my fill. I've just recently started doing them. This is probably my fourth or fifth time actually doing my own nails, but they came out pretty good. I'm not going to go ahead and put color on them in this video. I'll do another video at a later time. But yeah, so you saw me fix this one and it looks like brand spanking new. It's good to go. It's nice and on there strong compared to what it was. I may actually just leave my nails clear, just put a clear coat on. We'll see what happens. Thanks again, guys, for all of your love and support. I really appreciate it. These videos are just something that I've got inspired to do, and I figured I would just share all of my beauty, makeup, and nail tips and things that I do on my own, and hopefully you guys can get some inspiration and some tips out of it for yourself. Yeah, thanks again, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.